In Lipstick Under My Burkha, Buaji was a dignified matriarch who wore her saris neatly pleated. But that didn't stop her from reading erotica, having phone sex with her young swimming coach, and climaxing in the bathroom. The Swaddle presents Recasting. In Hindi cinema through the ages, there have been a handful of roles available to a woman once she turns 40. The mother, the aunt, the grandmother, the neighbor. The portrayals range from long-suffering do-gooder to evil schemer. But one thing they all have in common is that this older woman is completely desexualized. This comes across in the way she looks. The matronly saris she wears and the exaggerated wrinkles on her face make her out to be a woman whose body could no longer attract sexual attention. And because men don't desire her body anymore, it is assumed that her own desires are non-existent. In fact, more often than not, the older woman is supposed to act as the guardian of a khandan's sanskar.
मुझे इस घर के लिए चैंपियन नहीं, बहू चाहिए, जो घर गृहस्थी की देखभाल कर सके.
Protecting younger women from men's sexual and romantic advances. Her social worth is tied to her ability to perform this role well, which means she needs to be prudish in her attitude towards sex too. She may be a happily married woman sharing a loving bond with her partner, but nothing in these interactions suggests she has any real sexual needs. And the rare times when her desires are portrayed, she isn't depicted as an ideal older woman worthy of our respect. She's an aberration, either a comic character whose desires we're meant to mock, or a fallen woman whose inappropriate sexual urges confirm her fallen status. But this is where Usha Parmar breaks the mold. She plays the role of a respectable older woman perfectly, dressing like widowed women of certain age are supposed to, being the agony aunt for all her neighbors, and even standing up to builders to save her ancestral home from being demolished.
चलो नाम बताओ अपना.
बुआ जी.
किसकी बुआ जी? मेरी बुआ जी तो नहीं हो.
She is seen as the universal auntie ji, a respectable figure who no one should even think about having a sexual relationship with. But Buaji's sexual desires are not so easily stifled. Living in a society that has no space for an older woman's libido, she is forced to read erotica on the sly, hiding it behind religious texts while dreaming of being the sexually liberated Rosie she reads about in the story. She finds herself drawn to her hunky swimming coach and soon begins having clandestine phone sex with him under the alias of Rosie. This alternate identity gives Buaji the power to chase her pleasure by night, showing us just how taboo an older woman's sexual explorations are, but also what they might become without social restrictions. In her private moments, Buaji still dares to shun her assigned role and pursue her desire for sex without shame or self-loathing. When she is found out and disgraced by the coach and her family members, the story subverts the usual moral universe of Bollywood movies. The negation of her sexual desires is not seen as acceptable or comical. We are made to realize the cruelty in this kind of shaming and mockery as we sympathize with Usha's need to explore her sexuality. At the same time, Usha's character arc also sheds light on the precarity of the matriarch's position in Indian society. We are made to see that even though the respectable older woman has power, her authority is highly dependent on sticking to the confines of respectability. By the end of the movie, as she asks Rihanna to finish reading Rosie's story, we come to know the strength of Usha's fantasies.
झूठ बोलती है, पर शायद सपने देखने की हिम्मत देती है.
And they do not diminish her dignity and worth in our eyes. And just like that, the older woman turns into a complex character whose lipstick wale sapne become worth fighting for.